So the Big Go Belt Wrestling Podcast is back on the air for a special movie review this time. Not wrestling, talking movies. Two James, how you doing, man?
What's up, brother? How you feeling?
Pretty good. So not together, but recently we saw some movies. The first one, a Chinese movie that actually came out in 2018. Zhang Yimou, and he did Hero, House of Flying Daggers, well-known Chinese director. Shadow. It came out last September in China, but finally made its way to the U.S. here last weekend, and it's playing in a limited amount of theaters. But you managed to find one of those theaters near you. I went to down to Hoffman. So first of all, overall, what did you think of it?
I gotta say, I really like how my team of friends kind of work. I got the trailer, and obviously we were recording another show today, so got the trailer, and I was like, "Holy hell, this is right down my alley." And then I thought, like, coincidentally, when you was like, "I gotta hurry up and go," I thought you was going to go see it. But I gotta say, for starters, anybody who has no clue what this movie is, check out the trailer, because obviously by the other movies you already named, if you haven't seen them, this trailer should automatically lock you in if you're a martial arts fan. But seeing it, I will say that it was not what I expected, because this was legit a story. I thought I was just going to get straight action, where we just seen Triple Threat, where we did get straight action, which overpowered the story. We got some really good storytelling here.
Right. So before we get into that, let me just get people up to speed on what the movie actually is about.
Yeah, go for it.
And it's set in the Three Kingdoms period of China, way back in the olden days. And we have this kingdom led by this young king, who is kind of like a subject of a bigger king, and so he's kind of hanging out. And of course, nobody really likes that idea, and they kind of want to do something about it. But king is the king, and he feels how he feels. Well, the neighboring kingdom and the commander of the kingdom of Jing next door, they challenge the commander of our kingdom where it's set to a kingdom of Zhou. So Zhou is where we are, and Jing is next door. And the long and short of it is that the two generals of their armies are going to have a battle, just like a good sparring match to see where's what, and maybe freedom from under the leader of Jing. So a lot of political implications in this upcoming battle, but things aren't as it seems, as the commander of the Zhou kingdom has a shadow, somebody that's been working as the commander of Zhou for a long time. So people got, not all the cards are on the table, and it's very interesting, how it plays out, in the end. But yeah, you're right. It's a lot of story. The trailer definitely it's a pretty interesting trailer in that it doesn't tell you what's going on per se, but it definitely hits on a lot of the high spots. If you're pretty familiar with the Romance of the Three Kingdoms and that epic in Chinese history, or if you play Dynasty Warriors, some of the names, some of the characters, though the names have been changed, will definitely, you definitely know who they are. So like the princess, is based on Shan Chang Jian, who was one of my favorites in Dynasty Warriors. So
I didn't even know that, and that's when I first heard that. I was just like, that would be so idiotic for me to think that, and that's crazy to think that. Good information there.
Well, the commander, the original commander, he's based on Zhao Yu, which is one of the big three in Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah,
and the king is based on King Pei. He's based on Sun Quan, who was leader of Zhou in Dynasty Warriors. And then next door in the Jing kingdom, their commander is based on Guan Yu, who is another the dude with the big ass sword for the blue team in Dynasty Warriors. So I hate to relegate 2,000 years of Chinese history into a PS2 game, but it is what it is. That's how I remember it.
Also, if there was any chance that Lu Bu could have made an appearance in this movie, that would have been insane. Because I was slightly hoping that was going to happen at a
Then they
point.
would have to get like Brock Lesnar to come out there as Lu Bu for for some reason. But still, about the movie itself, the weird thing is the color. And in the trailer, I honestly thought the film was shot in black and white. It isn't.
Yeah.
It's not, and it's a really interesting thing that director Yimou did with the color, in that everything's this grayscale, monotone kind of a color, which really pops when blood is splattered
or anything with any liquid.
Yeah,
the
I mean,
it just was amazing.
Right, and it's not like in this slow motion matrixy type of thing or anything like that.
It's with finesse and elegance.
It's a lot of finesse. So if you remember that scene in Hero, the beginning of the movie in black and white, where they have this epic battle within their minds, it kind of looks like that. And a lot of that feeling came from that scene between Donnie Yen and Jet Li. But it's so really, really, really beautifully shot. Overall, a really interesting story that doesn't end in the place that you think it's going to end it. And I know, it is in Chinese Mandarin with English subtitles, but it's not one of those movies that you have to write, you've got to take notes on. The characters are pretty much the characters. It's a very small cast, and it's pretty easy to follow along with, even if you don't know the history. Let me ask you, though, based on what you saw in the trailer, and think that we're going to get like a Kung Lao Mortal Kombat backstory with the crazy umbrella, and after seeing the movie, what do you think? Do you like that, in that the trailer doesn't really give you a sense of what the movie actually is? It doesn't give too much away?
I mean, look, if the movie came out in 2018 and it's taken a while for it to release in U.S. theaters, I think at this point that you need to create whatever buzz you can to get people in the theater. Now, again, besides being a fan of the director and this style of movie, when you see what an umbrella can do in this movie, in the trailer, nonetheless, if that doesn't make your eyebrows jump to say like, okay, never have seen this as a weapon in this style, absolutely think it was the right thing to do. Although it did not tell the story or really put you in the seat to know exactly what you were going to get, because again, you didn't get just straight action. You did get a complex story that I wasn't familiar with at all. And even playing Dynasty Warriors for like the last 9 games for over the last, 15 years.
15 years, yeah.
Yeah. I still had an appreciative factor that when I legit sat in there and realized that there was dialogue going on for about 30 to 45 minutes of the movie before action started happening, I said, oh, they do want a story tale. They do want you to understand what's happening here. And so I appreciated that. So the trailer does kind of sway you to get you in the theater, but I do not think it disappoints. I mean, the visuals alone, even if that, matter of fact, I'm forgetting about the most important thing, the sound of the movie, the score, and the special effects that went with it, absolutely amazing. The only issue I have is that it's really quiet, which isn't a bad thing of the movie. You may fall victim to your surroundings like I did. A movie next to it was so loud that it just overwashed the sound at times, and I got a free ticket afterwards because I told him like it was no way I could understand, not so to say the language because I don't speak Mandarin, but I couldn't understand the tone that they was trying to relay, which I thought the music carried really good with. But nonetheless, like it was a really dope movie.
Well, I mean, because you couldn't hear it, that's unfortunate because the sound was really great. There were a lot of scenes, especially like because of the weather. The weather made everything really gray and foggy and damp and just gross. A lot of that had to do with how the action played out, and because it's set in feudal China, you had a lot of those things, and there was like a creak on the floorboard, and then you knew somebody was coming, and there's a lot of those little things that you don't really take for granted, but it's really immersive, the sound, and if you can't hear it, then you've lost half the movie. One thing I will say, though, that people, because I really liked it, but one thing I will say, though, that people could be blindsided with is that it really is a bit slow. There really is a lot of story to ingest, and then it sets you up for a big set piece at the end. I found that, satisfying, but there are those that see the trailer and are ready for some shenanigans. And you go, well, I'm still waiting. So the pacing was a little bit on the slow side. So if you're expecting it to be Ong Bak set in China, then that's not this movie. It is a drama that happens to be set in a wartime period. That just happens to be based in martial arts. So overall, before we move on to our second film that we saw this week, what do you give Shadow?
I give Shadow. I have to give it 2 different ratings.
Nope, pick one.
Out of 10 or out of 5? What are we doing?
Out of 5.
Out of 5, it's going to be. See, it's hard because I feel again, like your point, I feel like I really was gypped of half the movie. The first part was absolutely fine. I appreciate the story. I appreciate the action. Then the action picked up at the end. The plot really. I got to be very clear about one thing. I legit, at a point of the movie, got confused who was who, because remember the movie's called Shadow, and although I think, like you said, this is somebody that's going to follow behind somebody or
Right.
be their predecessor. They also made it very clear that they picked somebody that looked like somebody else. So there was some times where I was just like, especially with the queen and her daughter. There was a point where something happened. I was like, wait, I thought, and so it was sometimes I had mistaken identity with people. But overall, the story.
Well, I think that was a great part of it because Ding Chao did play both the young Shadow and the commander.
True.
He played both roles, and seeing him talk to himself on screen as 2 different people with 2 different looks, was pretty interesting itself. They didn't like do the crappy over the shoulder, or he's obviously talking to the back of somebody else's head deal. That was a really interesting bit of business, and because of reasons in the story, those 2 characters did not look a lot alike. So it kind of makes you wonder, well, and of course it makes you wonder about events that happen before the movie opens.
But yeah, nonetheless, 2.5 out of 5. It just I probably could have used a little bit more, and again, the sound was really quiet, so you could fall victim to your surrounding. So you do need to seclude yourself in a good surrounding. You're watching it. A DVD purchase would be perfect for this.
Okay.
So, but yeah, 2.5 out of 5 for me.
I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I really liked it. I thought it was just a solid movie. Really small cast. They got in, they got out. They really didn't leave too much on the table. And then that ending, a really, really twisty ending where, as we come off the climax, in the closing events, it's like, see what you did there. You're leaving us with a little nugget, and they could progress the story a little bit more if they chose. But I like the way the movie actually ended when they cut to black. So solid 4 out of 5 for me. If you're in the Washington D.C. area, it is playing at Tyson's Corner and Hoffman and Rio. All AMC theaters. It's playing tonight and tomorrow,
and E Street as well too.
Oh, good. After tomorrow, not really sure. Check your your local theaters or Fandango or wherever you use to get your movie tickets to see where it's playing near you. Or if you just want it because you want it, it's on Blu-ray in China. So yesasia.com is where I get my Blu-ray movies from, and you can pick it up right now. It's $25. And they usually have shipping deals and whatever, but $25. yesasia.com, and they have you can get the Hong Kong version with English subtitles, and it will play on your American Blu-ray player because it's the same region. So if you want to go ahead and do either one, it's worth seeing in the theaters, but if you can't do that, it's definitely out on Chinese Blu-ray if you want to order it. The second movie we saw this week. Go ahead.
Let's cut it here because I'm going to do this one so I can make it a video.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna cut this. Hold on.